Blake, about, you look at Edmonton, they got the 100-point guys, the, fair-haired boys and all that. You guys are known for your penalty killers.
Yeah.
Is that the personality team that you guys are like grinders and maybe they're the sort of the fair-haired boys, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know about that characterization. They clearly have a couple players that are amongst the top scorers year after year. We know that. We play a different style, based on our personnel. We do what we think works best for us. They've got a good power play. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody over the last few years. If you just look at that, they execute well. They're executing right now. We're gonna have to change that. That really doesn't change from night to night.
But if you grab that blue collar ethos, does it make it easier to, in a series like this, where they win one game by a lot, you guys come back and win in overtime. They win one game by a lot, you can come back and grind.
Yeah, that's playoffs usually is a grind. So you got to make sure that you play that style. Otherwise, and Edmonton did a good job of that last night too. They have a good team. They played well defensively last night, so let's give them credit. They're a blue-collar team in many ways too. So that's the style of game you have to play. We just have to play it better.
Jim, one of the challenges all season has been consistency. You look at your performance in game 2 and 3. How frustrating is it not to be able to get the same level of performance from the team every game?
Yeah, well, it's hard to be consistent over a long period of time, but in the playoffs, you expect that because it's just a race to four wins that you're going to have that night after night. And so, yeah, if there's one thing, the first game for me was just an anomaly. Couldn't figure out why. We got our blueprint back in game 2, so disappointed, frustrating last night for sure. We had all those emotions. We went through that already this morning, and now we turn the page once again, just like we did in game 1. We were down by a game, came back and played a good game, got it even, and that's just the same challenge for us tomorrow.
Jim, earlier in the series, at least back up in Edmonton, you talked about how you wanted PL and Kevin to score. Are you at all surprised that partnership hasn't hasn't been more fruitful? And what do you think has been behind them not being able to have a real impact on the game, especially with the matchups that they get?
No, they've had some different looks at different times. I know PL got the one up in Edmonton. Kevin got the one. I think was it the game winner? No, I got us up 4-3, and then they came back. So we haven't had a lot of guys do a lot of scoring, I guess you would say, outside of Kempe has scored relatively consistently. So. As those players who are higher profile offensive players, for sure, they need to get more done. But they can't do it, at the risk of letting the puck go the other way and giving Edmonton a chance to put one in the back of our net. So it's a tough balance. It's a playoffs. You have to play a two-way game, and when you get your opportunities, you have to score. Would we like more for them so far? Yeah, but we're 3 games in. There's lots left.
Can you walk us through, so what happens after, from the end of game 3 last night through last night, your meetings today, what's that like, and maybe just walk us through how you get ready for game 4?
We try and get some sleep. Not always easy to do, and of course it's emotional after the game, so you run through all those emotions, try and get a decent night's sleep. That doesn't happen very often, as I said. And then you come back in the morning, you refresh, you get with your coaching staff. Everybody's had a chance to digest it a little bit and come with their own fresh perspective. And then, people make different points, stuff I wouldn't have thought about necessarily that hit them in the game after going through the video. And so just work your way through it, and then you come up with a plan for the day. So that's I'm sure every staff does the same thing. It's just a process. There's lots of good people, hockey people on the staff, weigh everybody's opinions, and then you move forward.
Just a follow-up, can we anticipate, what kind of changes, if any, can we anticipate heading into game 4? Or is it really about executing what we've been talking about since the series started?
Yeah. Well, we think we have a plan and a recipe that's going to lead to success. We didn't follow it well enough last night in the first period, specifically. So we know what we have to do. We just have to do it better. And sometimes, I don't know if it's the emotion of the home crowd. That was the disappointing part, is we expected that game would go a lot different from the drop of the first puck. We took a bad penalty early that we didn't need to take. I know they didn't score, but it gets you on your heels right away, gets the crowd out of the game. So that, that's not something we can afford to do. Not that that was the difference in the game, but we didn't come back from it. So we can't shoot ourselves in the foot in any area of the game. Turned a couple pucks over. Here they come. So these things are, everybody watched it. They're pretty identifiable. We can't afford to do those things.
Edmonton has scored in every period of the series so far except for overtime. What kind of challenges does that present, either in messaging or confidence or continuity from the defensive effort?
I mean, I don't know. There's not a great answer to the question. I think I've tried to answer it. We have to do a better job, and it's limiting them. They're going to get their chances, and they're going to score. They got some guys that can finish. It just can't give them too many. And if you start putting those kind of numbers out, we've obviously given too many. There's no simple answer. It's a tough game out there, and you have to understand the risk when certain players are on the ice. When you have
for 10 on the power play, are the same things going wrong in each game, or has it been different?
Yeah, I think I said it last night. I mean, you can say 0 for 10. The back half of that game last night, the power play. I look at the first 2 power plays, and those were opportunities for us to really make a difference in the game, influence the outcome. I thought we were better. We entered better. We moved the puck better. We didn't get any kind of result. So, you know what? We'll get back at it tomorrow night. But that's an area that has to score. That's been a big part of our success this year, and it was a big part of last year's series for us and them. And so far, we haven't delivered on our end in that
back
area.
part of the game, like, you clearly weren't satisfied with the calls there in the third that resulted in 5-on-3. Did you get a satisfactory explanation of that?
No, I guess then I didn't need one. I didn't need one. I think it's emotional time in the game for everybody. And, referees made the calls. We move on with it, whether we agreed with it or not. And that one's, again, basically over. And we're rehashing it a little bit. We didn't play well. We know that. Our power play didn't score. We know that. We've talked about it. We're moving on.
David Riddick shut the Oilers out in February. Is there any consideration to starting him in the game?
There's always consideration. There's consideration every game. We go through everything. David did play good in that game, back home game. That was my first game with the team. So we knew that, but we knew that going into the series, the same thing. So we consider everything every night.